Hey there, fellow brothers and sisters. Welcome to Irish Drifters Podcast, where every journey has a story. I'm John and I'll be your guide through uncharted paths and unforgettable moments. Let's hit the road together. Subscribe and let's get drifting.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you're here. And if you're new, my name is John. As always guys, remember to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out in future episodes. Let's get to it. I remember the 90s were a magical time. A world caught between simplicity of the past and the technology of the future. It was an era of simplicity, where the world wasn't always within arm's reach. It was the time when you had to be there to connect with people. And when I think of those days, I remember one of my most unforgettable adventure. Picture this. The neighbourhood was alive with sounds of soccer balls bouncing on the driveways, laughter echoing from cul-de-sacs, and the smell of home fires brewing out of chimneys. It was officially autumn, and that crisp air was one you could always count on at that time of the year. I was 12 and everyone was your friend in the housing estate, especially when Halloween was around the corner. My friend Paddy was going to join me, and the whole neighbourhood of kids was ready to take on an adventure. The crowd outside the shop was growing, as usual. A group of kids from all ages gathered, buzzing with energy. But then the older one showed up and the atmosphere shifted. One of them, Sean, probably around 16, much older than me and a friend. Right guys, change of plan. We're going to get tires, and if you're coming, you need to bring 2 with you, he says. I could feel the tension rise. Sean had always been a bully boy. He liked to boss everyone around, and you could tell people just followed him because it was easier than defying him. I looked at Paddy and I could see that he was uncertain too. But what else could we do? We were already in it, and it was too late to back out now. It was about 4:15 in the afternoon, so we still had about 3 hours before darkness would fall. As it was heading for winter, we set off, and there must have been about 30 of us, kids ranging from 12 to 18. And it felt like we were setting out on an adventure. Crossing the emerald fields of Ireland. No phones, no earbuds, just beanies, wellies and gloves. We had no GPS. The only direction we had was the promise of adventure. We walked for about 2 miles through snaky roads, crossing fields, wading through streams. The sun was beginning to dip low, casting long shadows over the rolling hills. It was serene, beautiful. No parents telling me what to do, no boundaries to follow, just freedom. We were a group of about 30. Each of us lost an adventure we were sharing. At some point, we must have walked about 3 miles. We stood at the top of a field, looking out across the landscape, feeling small against the vast expanse. The bully Sean was leading the pack, walking like a Jack the Lad, and we all followed behind like sheep. He threw out insults to anyone who dared to speak, and you could feel the fear rise whenever his eyes turned your direction. Then it happened. Out of nowhere, Sean smeared a stick covered in cow pat on Paddy's lip. He laughed wickedly, and the others followed his lead. I felt the weight of that moment on my shoulders. This was the world we were in, one where the older kids rule, and you either followed or you were the target. We arrived at the infamous Baird's Pit, the farmyard where the old tires were stacked high. From the top of the field, we could see the farmer's house and shed. The sight of the pit sent a shiver down my spine. It wasn't just an adventure anymore. It was real. We were here, and we had to do this without getting caught. We had to cross electric wire to reach the pit. Crawling under it, it felt like sneaking into enemy territory. My heart pounded as we crawled. The tension mounting every inch closer to the pit. The stakes were high, no doubt. The farmer could catch us at any moment. Once we were under the wire, we split into 2 groups. The older boys leading the way, reached the tyre pit and began rolling the tyres to us. There were all kinds of tyres. Car tyres, lorry tyres, tractor tyres, dumper tyres, all stacked together in a big heap. As the tyres gathered, I kept my eyes on the farmer's yard, hoping we wouldn't be spotted. The sun was setting, painting the sky with deep oranges and reds. The farmers were still working in the yard, unaware of us, yet we had to move fast. Eventually, the older kids gathered all the tyres. We huddled together and Sean gave us that signal. Right guys, we're taking these tyres back with us. But we need to be careful. There's no age to hide behind as we cross into the next field. We're an open target for the farmer to see us. So when he goes into the house or the sheds, the farmer, we run with the tyres, right? That was the plan. So the older lads sent us younger kids first, and we made it across with no problem, thankfully. But as the last group of older kids prepared to cross, they had been spotted. The farmer yelled, and we could hear his tractor engines roar to life. Panic spread through the group. We were about 3.5 miles from home, maybe 4, and we were in the middle of nowhere. The older kids, knowing the route back, led us as we plodded along, passing through farm fields. But the tractor noise was getting louder. They weren't giving up. They wanted those tyres back. We crossed 2 more fields before we reached the final one. And the tractor sounded louder and louder, like the growl of a hungry animal. We knew that if we could just make it to the road, we would be safe. The tractor couldn't follow us there. It couldn't access the road from the fields because there was no gate. So, we neared the last. We neared the end of the last field, and I could hear the farmer's voice yelling profanities, followed by gunshots in the distance. Terrified, I looked back and saw the red tractor chasing us. It was like a scene from a thriller movie, except it was real. The tension was unbearable. The farmer had dogs in his trailer, barking and growling as they raced towards us. We were so close to freedom. We just had to make it to the end of this field I was thinking, and cross the stream and go up the embankment to the road. Well, the farmer swung the gate open. He was driving his tractor towards us, but by then we were already on the road. There was no way for him to follow us because there was no gate right in the field, and he wasn't going to cross the stream, go up an embankment and leave his dogs and tractor in the field. So we were in good ground. We took off, rolling the tires down the road. It was so much easier than rolling them through the long grass. For the younger ones, like myself, carrying 2 tires each had been heavy, especially over the long distance. But finally, it felt like a victory. Each roll bringing us closer to home. As we made our way home, exhausted and dirty, we couldn't help but feel proud. We'd survived the ordeal, worked together, and gotten the tires back to the housing estate. Paddy was in trouble when he got home. That much was obvious, but it didn't matter. We had a memory that would last a lifetime. Eventually, we all split off and headed to our homes. But I kept thinking back to the chase, the danger, the thrill of it all. As we huddled in the fields and set out towards the road, our camaraderie had become more than just a group of kids working together. It was about teamwork, trust, and overcoming fear. And even as I think back on it now, I can feel the rush of that adventure. The thrill of crossing the fields, the fear of being caught, and the relief when we finally made it. It was the kind of thing you only experience as a kid. The world was our playground, and we were invincible. Right guys, it's that time of the video. Did you ever have a childhood adventure as wild as daring as the one in the Great Tire Heist? Whether it was sneaking through fields, an unexpected chase, or a mischievous plan gone wrong, I'd love to hear your most unforgettable moments from childhood. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Guys, if you've enjoyed this journey with me and found this story entertaining, I encourage you to subscribe. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Remember, the world is your garden. Get drifting. See you in the next one, guys.